welcome to another episode of the Preparedness Podcast, the podcast that brings you the best in preparedness information. You can find us online at thepreparednesspodcast.com. My name is Rob Hannes, and you can reach me directly by emailing me at rob@prepcast.info. Today we're going to be talking about the 59 things that you can put in your Sundries kit. Now, you may not be familiar with the word sundry. It's an older term. It means a miscellaneous item that isn't important enough to list individually. Now, it kind of puts some less weight on these items, but the way I look at it is these are the general purpose, the general store type items. Things like soap, deodorant, cotton swabs, towels, stuff like that. Now, I think they're important. I mean, you need a lot of this stuff for personal hygiene and health reasons and stuff. But a lot of times, if you're making lists, I don't know about you, but when I go to where do I put this, I mean, I can use soap in a variety of different rooms of the house, which means I have different functions for them. Bathroom, kitchen, laundry, whatever. Sometimes it's difficult to put these in a category that makes it easy to package. Now, I mean, you can put it on a list and say, kitchen soap and stuff like that. But when it comes to like packing up kits and easily compacting them into a single container, so to speak, what I've done is I just find that I like calling it a sundry kit. And what I want to talk about is what you can do to put together what I call a 3-month sundries kit. In some regards, you might want to call this a personal hygiene kit or a sanitation kit or maybe a comfort or a personal comfort kit, depending on your preference, or possibly the main focus of the kit itself. I prefer sundries because it sticks out, and to me, all these items are sundries. They're miscellaneous items. They're not important enough to have their own list, so to speak, but yet they're something that I want to have, and they tend to be grouped together. These are the things that you find in your linen closet, the things you find in your medicine cabinet, in underneath the sink in your bathroom, perhaps. So there's a tendency to sort of have these grouped naturally in your house, even though they may serve purposes for different things. You may have dish soap that goes in the kitchen, and you have bath soap that goes in your bathroom, in your shower, or something like that. So I just chose to call them sundry kits as opposed to, personal hygiene kit or something like that. I just think it sounds better. Of course, you can name it anything you'd like. However, the goal of this kit is to give you the items that you need to use on a daily basis to take care of the things you use on a regular basis. They're usually small, and I think you'll be surprised at how small a pack like this can be, even with some bulky items like toilet paper, because a lot of these items can last a while. Like, for example, a tube of toothpaste, you're not done in a week. It can last, depending on the size of it, up 3 or 4 months. Now, before I continue, I want to go ahead and take care of some announcements. I think I completely skipped over announcements on the last podcast. I keep forgetting to mention that we have a forum, the Preparedness Podcast forum. You can find it at thepreparednesspodcast.com/forum. It's a small forum. There's not all that much going on there, but the information that there is really good. The people that are there and active on the forum, knowledgeable, great place to go to ask questions and get information and input and opinions from other people of like mind and stuff. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't. Also, we recently put up a resource page, and you can find that at thepreparednesspodcast.com/resources, or if you go to the main page, you'll see there's a link up in the upper navigation, and there is also a link on the left-hand side. Can't miss it. It's a big red button. And what we're doing with this is some of the things that I talk about, I have people email me, and they're like, hey, what was that book you talked about? Or what was that list of survival books? Or you had mentioned something. And usually what happens is I'll talk about something and I'll briefly mention it, and what I forget to do is I forget to give the details on exactly what the exact title was, or who the author was, or where you can get the product or something like that. That usually is what seems to be the case. So we thought, we need to have a place to put this type of information, and now the trick is, of course, I have to remember to actually put it there. So now when you email me and say, hey, what was that cool thing, I can say, here, I put it up on the resource page, and now you can go check it out. Also, there's just basically it's a dumping ground, I guess you could call it, for me to put a lot of things that I talk about or I come across that I'd like to be able to pass along to you without having to have a single page for everything. So go ahead and look for that there. Also, the Preparedness Podcast mini guide on surviving EMP is available on Amazon. Don't forget to check that out. If you haven't signed up for the weekly tips, when you're on the website, you'll see a banner for signing up for weekly tips. When you sign up on that page, you're actually signing up for the weekly tips and what I'm calling the newsletter, which I'm probably going to launch February 1st. And what this is a weekly email that will send out basically a summary of everything that's been put out on the website for the past week. So I'll probably launch that you'll probably get the first one on February 1st, because everybody that signed up for the weekly tips is automatically signed up for this as well. I just really haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But I think it's a way that I know everybody has a really busy lifestyle and hectic with today's world of having to work and make sure you can bring home enough money, make ends meet and stuff. And not everybody has a lot of time to get to all the information that's out there. And so I know that I like subscribing to summary emails from the websites that I like, so that basically the site sends me a summary of what's happened. So if I didn't get a chance to go, I can stay in tune with what's going on. And if I see something that catches my eye, then I can go do it. And this will have, again, all the articles that were released on the site, including all the Prepper News Watch posts that were out there. So look for that to start probably February 1st. And while we're taking this break, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the sponsor for the podcast, and that's FlyingEagleGold.com. One of the things that everybody talks about in a hyperinflation or a depression or a bad economy is you want to have tangible goods. And tangible goods are those things that you can touch. Things like food or wheat or water filters or knives or beans and bullets and Band-Aids and things that you can touch, things that you can use. Because what happens is your money that's in your pocket, the paper money, the coins and stuff, what happens is that when they lose value, you can't buy those tangible goods anymore, or at the very least, you can't buy them for the same price that you used to. The secret is to be able to have tangible items, but yet have something that everybody wants, or have a medium of exchange that you can use to barter or to trade or to buy tangible items that you might be needing. And that's where gold and silver comes into play. So think of gold and silver not as stuff you can't eat, because you can't eat water filters, you can't eat knives, you can't eat paper and or toilet paper and stuff. They all have uses though, and gold and silver also have a use, and that is providing a medium of exchange that everybody can peg the value of their items to. So when your preparedness plan has moved to a point that you have you're very comfortable in your preparedness, you're looking to further increase that, look at gold and silver. And once you own the gold and silver, you get a really good feeling that you've provided an economic financial stability for yourself, regardless of what the U.S. dollar does or the U.S. economy does. So when you make that move, think of FlyingEagleGold.com. Give Jeff a call. Let him know you heard him on the Preparedness Podcast. And real quickly, I just want to mention that Tom from CampingSurvival.com let us know today that they have a ton of U.S.-made military 550 paracord, that's the parachute cord, in stock, and you can get an extra 7% off by using the coupon code OVERSTOCK. It's in stock, it's ready to be shipped, and they've got a ton of it. So if you've been looking for that, just head on over to CampingSurvival.com, check out the parachute cord, and use the coupon code Overstock for a 7% discount. Okay, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but you should be keeping track of how long your sundry items last. One way to do this is to write the date on the container when you open it or when you begin using whatever the item is. And when it's depleted, before you throw it away or as you're throwing away, you can check the date and note how long that it lasted. For example, if you kept a permanent marker in your bathroom, like that's what we do. We have an indelible marker up in our medicine cabinet. And when you crack open a new tube of toothpaste, you can write the date on the tube, or the package of toilet paper, or the contact solutions, or whatever you have up there. You could even, like, say, a soap box for your shower. You can write the date that you opened the soap on the box. Keep the box someplace, in the corner of your closet or someplace like that, or near the garbage can. If you say, for example, you keep the garbage can underneath the sink in the bathroom, you can put the box near the garbage can so that when all you have left is that little bitty piece of slimy soap left, you can put that in that box, look at the date, and throw it out, and you know how long it lasted you. Now, you should keep a notebook of this or some sort of tablet or in your computer or something, or just have a really good memory of how long things last you. Then you know when you say, oh, I'm going to put together a 3-month sundry kit, now you know how much you need to put in that kit. Or if you have a lot of people in your house, you might want to do 1-month packs, because that way you can go ahead and build 1-month packs, and every bag or every container is 1 month of sundries for your entire family. And so when you look, or when you are bugging out and you're grabbing 2 of these, you know you've got 2 months worth of supplies. Now, before you go getting a container or a bag for this, I would recommend that you assemble all the items first and look at how much space it's going to take, and then you can find an appropriately sized container for all of it. One thing you can do is you can strip out the boxes. You know, the box of toothpaste is bigger than the tube itself. You can find other ways to pack and condense the items. For example, you can take toilet paper and vacuum seal them, or you can even take out the cardboard roll if you want to actually reduce as much bulk and weight as possible and just flatten that roll. But I found personally that if you vacuum seal a couple rolls of toilet paper together in one of those food saver bags, the cardboard doesn't really amount to much. It becomes very flat, very compact, and you can get a lot of toilet paper in a very small amount of space. Not only that, it's waterproof, and that becomes a very long-term storage item because it doesn't wear out. Actually, I think you'll probably find that most of the items in your sundry kit basically are long-term. You know, Q-tips don't wear out, combs don't wear out, soaps last for a long time, shampoo lasts for a long time. And so you can actually build this kit, and most of it can last for probably several years at the least without having to exchange anything out of it. Okay, so I'm going to go over the items I have on my sundry kit list and throw in a few opinions and comments about some of these items as we go. I have 4 general categories that are here. It's bathroom, kitchen or other, miscellaneous, and then over-the-counter medicines. So starting with bathroom, I've got 24 listed here, and in no particular order. None of this is in any particular order other than, say, alphabetical, and that's just simply for ease of finding stuff on there. Antiperspirant or deodorant, I know it's not necessarily a must-have survival item, but keep in mind, and especially for this type of kit, your comfort kit, your personal hygiene or sanitation or your sundry kit, comfort and morale are the big things here, or they're a big component of why you want to have this stuff. Sure, you don't need to wash your hair, you don't need to brush your teeth, you don't need to put on deodorant or antiperspirant, you don't need to shave. However, you know, we feel better when we do, and when we feel better, we're in a better spirit, which is very important for survival, but we also tend to look at things from a better perspective because we're not grumpy, we're not achy, we're not uncomfortable, and so at the very least, we can look at these items from that perspective. So, again, antiperspirant, then chapstick. I always carry a tube of chapstick with me here in the desert. I know that in the winter months when I was back in the Midwest, I usually needed chapstick a lot because it was so dry. Here, what I do is I carry a high SPF chapstick. It's the 30 SPF because if I ever get stuck and have to stay out in the sun or I'm out in the sun a lot, I don't want my lips getting chapped and sunburned. That's extremely uncomfortable for me. I have a comb, hair conditioner, contact solutions. Now, I have really short hair, so I don't really need a comb, and I don't need hair conditioner, but I know that women who have longer hair, and I suppose men who have longer hair as well, the conditioner really helps keep the hair from being tangled and stuff. If you wear contacts, there's no reason why you can't continue wearing your contacts, but you'll need the contact solutions to clean them and stuff. Of course, you'll need the contacts themselves. And if you do wear contacts on a regular basis, much like eyeglasses, you should have some backup spare pairs of your contact lenses in addition to your backup eyeglasses. Dental floss for both adults and kids. The kids ones typically are the little, we have them, they're like a little, I don't know what you call them, but it's not a toothpick, but it's like a little frame, and there's a little piece of floss that is mounted between these two, like a Y yoke or whatever, and that allows them to get in there a little bit easier than having to use just a string of floss. Of course, feminine hygiene products are very important. Foot powder. Now, I don't use foot powder on a regular basis, but if you're going to be doing a lot of hiking, or if you need foot powder, then you definitely want to have that around. Like a comb, a hairbrush, hand lotion. My wife needs hand lotion. I think all women use a lot of hand lotion and stuff all the time, but I have found that when I'm out in the field and I have my hands on wood a lot, or dirt, or whatever it is, they get very dry and they start to crack, and they're painful. And I find that if I put lotion on them on a fairly regular basis, then they're not as painful. And I think it's actually a healthier, because that cracked skin, your skin is a barrier against germs, and if you have cracked skin and open wounds or open sores, then germs can get into them. So keeping your hands from cracking, I think, is important. So hand lotion, I think, is important. Potty wipes, but these could be personal wipes or wet wipes or whatever you want to call them. They're very handy for taking, quick towel showers without actually having to take a shower. Q-tips, I think, are important. Razor blades, and of course a razor handle. Shaving is one of those comfort things. I know women, if they don't shave after a while, it's uncomfortable. I know if I don't shave for close to a week, it starts to get really scratchy and stuff. Now, if I let it go, it gets better, but there is that discomfort after a while, and there is all this has a lot to do with normalcy. These are things you do on a regular basis. And so if you can bring normalcy to a disaster situation, again, you're going to improve morale and you're going to feel better. Continuing on, I've got shampoo. Shaving cream, of course, goes with the razor blades and stuff. Now, if you have an electric shaver and you can save some of those razor blades, assuming you have power or a way to provide power, you can save on using those razor blades until you need to. Now, I have soap. I have soap in bar form and I have soap in liquid form. Now, for the bathroom, this would be hand liquid soap. The bar soap tends to last a little bit longer. It dries out. Once it's dry, it's easy to handle. Otherwise, it's kind of messy. I think a lot of us are using the liquid soap for bathroom use and stuff, and I don't see any reason why we can't. We have found, and I think I mentioned this on one of the podcasts, or at least on the one of the posts on the website, and I'll put a link in the show notes for this, but it's a foaming soap dispenser that uses regular liquid soap, not the specialized foaming soap. And it really extends how long your liquid soap lasts. And you put a little bit of soap in here, you put some water in there, you shake it up, and it creates foaming soap. It's great because the kids love it, so they use more soap when they wash their hands, which is a good thing. But it really stretches out how long our liquid soap lasts. And so to me, it's kind of like a prep item because it stretches how long my prep supplies can last. Next on the list, I have tissues and then toilet paper. Both of these can actually be rather difficult to know exactly how much to have, because during normal times when nobody's sick, you use a lot less. And when you do have a sick person, or if several or more or all of your family is sick, the amount of tissues and toilet paper you use seems to go up exponentially. So it's difficult to know, say, in a 3-month period, how much you're going to need. You're going to have to really overestimate that just in case somebody is sick or you have more than one person sick. So you can't have too much of that. Then, of course, I've got toothpaste and then a towel and a washcloth. And I would make the towel and the washcloth at least one per person. And that pretty much takes care of the bathroom section. Moving on to the kitchen/other. I've got aluminum foil. It's one of the amazing sort of foil wraps that are out there. It's good for so many things. You can make a pot out of it. You can make a pot lid out of it. You can wrap things up. You can store things. I mean, it really has a wide variety of uses. And I know several preppers that buy at least one roll every time they go to the store because it is such a multi-purpose tool or supply that they just can't have enough on hand. And, if you're preparing for like EMP, you're going to be using a lot more of it because you have to wrap all your items in the foil and stuff. I've got Ziploc bags of various sizes, anything from the sandwich bags up to the gallon, 2.5 gallon. And actually, Ziploc has these really big Ziploc bags, and I like them. I think they're 5 gallon or 7.5 gallon. I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't think they measure them that way. They're measured like XL, XXL, or something like that. Anyways, one of those sizes is big enough to fit a 5-gallon gas can in. And instead of having to put this dirty, nasty, smelly, grimy gas can in your car when you need to transport it, you can stick it in this bag and, not ruin the inside of your car and kind of keep it not smelly as like gas all the time. Now, I wouldn't carry it in this all the time because of the if your fuel can leaks, which is why you'd be putting it in the Ziploc bag, then you don't want the vapor to build up inside the bag and create any sort of explosion capability there. So I wouldn't do that on a regular basis, but if you're looking to carry, wet towels or greasy, grimy, dirty clothes, whatever, those big Ziploc bags are pretty cool. Separately listed, I have bread bags. These aren't Ziplocs. These are the thin. They're actually marked on the box as bread bags. I think they're about a quart size or quart and a half or whatever, and they're good for storing bread in. They're thin. They're not very durable, but it's a very thin plastic bag. We use them mostly for bread and for food items and stuff like that. Next on the list is I have dish soap or dish detergent. Now we store Dawn. The blue stuff because I find it's a very good dish soap, but it also is great to have for decontamination purposes. So we always try to have several bottles of that Dawn on hand. Food wrap, plastic food wrap. Again, it's like the bags, but it's a little more versatile for covering containers or wrapping up sandwiches. You can get a lot more of it for cheaper. Laundry soap. You're going to have to clean your clothes, whether you make it yourself, with the Fells, naphtha, or whatever. You're going to have some sort of laundry soap. The next two of napkins and paper towels, they're convenience items. They definitely aren't something you need, but in the beginning of a disaster, when you are more worried about safety and cleanup and stuff like that, you want to prevent the spread of germs as easy as possible. And having things like napkins and paper towels and disposable eatery plates and stuff like that is definitely something that you're going to want to have. And, of course, that goes right into the next one of disposable plates and cutlery. All this stuff helps cut down on the spread of germs. Until you get into the habit of sanitizing your dishes and cleaning your dishes and how you're going to do that, it's easier, especially if it's a very short-term disaster, it's easier to just use it and throw it away and not have to worry about making sure the germs are clean. It's a much more convenient way to handle a disaster or an emergency in the beginning. Parchment is next. It's another wrap, but it has different properties. Sometimes it's easier to bake or do stuff with parchment. Along with that is wax paper. It's not in alphabetical order, but parchment and wax paper are similar, different properties. Parchment is more expensive than wax paper, but it's, again, if you need it, you need it. Trash bags of various sizes, anything from a small waste basket to a large garbage or lawn-sized bag. Multiple uses. I mean, you could even use them for rain ponchos if you had to, but I don't think you can have too many plastic bags. The last thing I have in the kitchen category is wet wipes, but these are bleach-based. These wouldn't be the ones you'd want to use on your skin for a personal cleanup. These are the ones you'd want to use after cutting up chicken and other type of food so you don't spread the germs and stuff like that. Moving on, I only have a few items in miscellaneous, and they are clothespins, insect repellent, Lysol, the liquid, and Lysol, the spray. I list them as two different because they have two different purposes. The spray is good for general use and stuff, especially if you have an outhouse or a privy that you've set up inside. The Lysol spray really comes handy for keeping down smells. And the Lysol liquid is very good for decontamination, either just general purpose around the house, or if you do have a pandemic flu or even a biological agent that we have to deal with, that would be how you'd want to deal with it. And then sunscreen and vitamins are the other two that round out the miscellaneous. Now, the last section here is OTC medicines. OTC stands for over-the-counter. And you may be asking yourself or saying to yourself right now, hold it, Rob. Rob's office rocker here. This is actually a first aid item. And it is. You are absolutely correct. However, where do you store your bottles of cough syrup and eardrops and allergy medicine and stuff like that? I don't store that in my first aid kit. I'd store some, not all this that I'm going to list here. I store some that is convenient to put in a smaller pack. But the bigger things, the big bottles of Tylenol, the big bottles of whatever, I don't store in my first aid kits. I store them either in a cabinet in the kitchen because it's convenient access and those are the things that we use more often, or I store them in the linen closet that we have. So to me, these are actually sundry items, and I segregate this by size, I guess. Things that are convenient to put into a first aid kit or a medical bag or a medical pack or something like that, sure, I'll do that. But typically what I'm doing for that is I'm actually taking some, like for example, if I have a big bottle of acetaminophen that I bought from Costco, I'm not putting that in my first aid kit. I'm going to take out maybe 50 tablets or maybe 30 tablets from there, and I'll put it in a smaller container, and that goes in my first aid kit. And I may take out 100 tablets, and I may put them in my backup medical supplies kit, but I'm not going to put the big bottle there. The big bottle is a linen closet item. So that's my rationale and thinking behind this. Of course, you're free to change it. This is just how I kind of correlate things. Okay, so what I have on the list, and again, this is in alphabetical order just for convenience, I start with the allergy tablets, and it's hard to list all the allergy tablets because there's so many different mixtures and combinations out there. To me, and what I have in this list is just a mixture of antihistamine and decongestant medicines. Acetaminophen, which is your Tylenol generic. Then you have your antacids and your anti-gas. Next would be anti-diarrheal, and then I have aspirin, then I have Benadryl, and I list Benadryl separately because a lot of times the Benadryl is what is specifically requested to be given to somebody who's having an allergic reaction, and so I separate that between an allergy and like an anaphylactic shock sort of condition where they're going to say, oh, give them Benadryl, because you could even give Benadryl to like your dog. I've actually had to do that before as well, so I list it separately. Then I have cold and allergy for children, and if you don't have children, this isn't a big deal, but if you do have children, you want to have the cold and allergy for them. Then I also have cold and cough for children. Those are actually two different sets of elixirs that they can drink. They have different things in them. We find that they work really well. That's why it's on my list. Next is decongestant tablets. This is separately from an antihistamine, so like a Sudafed type of stuff. And now you're probably saying, hey, Rob, you listed allergy tablets at the top, which is a mixture of antihistamine and decongestant medicines. Why do you have this stuff listed separately? To me, like, for example, allergy tablets would be an Actifed, which is a mix of an antihistamine and a decongestant. Or perhaps you're taking, I think it's Alka-Seltzer's cold and flu or whatever. It's a mixture of that stuff. That's kind of what I meant. I probably should have been a little more specific when I first talked about it, but that's what I was talking about, is the mixture, the combo stuff that you would take, and then the separate components if you need just those. Next, I have ear drops and eye drops. If you have a particular set that you use on a regular basis, you would want to have those. Ibuprofen, both adult and children's. Then laxatives or fiber, if that's stuff that you use. Naproxen, I list that separately because to me it's more of a muscle relaxer, and it works for aching muscles. The stay awake stuff, caffeine, Vibrant, Fiber Energy. It's maybe not so important on a regular basis, but in a disaster where you may have to stay awake all night to protect against looters or whatever else is going on, you might need some of that. Triple antibiotic cream in the tubes. And the last thing I have on this list is Tylenol for children. Tylenol and ibuprofen, by the way, we alternate sometimes when the kids have a really bad fever. You actually can alternate the times, because I think Tylenol is 6 hours and I think ibuprofen is 4 or something like that. My wife takes care of that, but we've used that successfully to control high fevers. It works really well, so that's why we have both on there for our kids. And that is the list of 59 items to put in your Sundries kit. Now, did you know what a Sundry kit is? Go out and make one and prepare one for your family or for yourself. Again, assemble these items to find out how big they are. Repack them into smaller containers, either other bags or nylon bags or boxes or something. Don't use the original containers for everything. It'll be a lot more compact. Vacuum seal your toilet paper so it's as compact as possible. And I think you'll find that even a 3-month kit isn't going to be that big. A lot of your medicines, your Lysol spray, your sunscreens, your foil, your toothpaste, your dental floss, chapstick, stuff like that. A lot of that will last 1 to 3 months fairly easy. So even if a tube of chapstick only lasted a month, which I think would be a lot of use on a tube of chapstick, so you have 3 of them. Big deal. They're so small they take up virtually no room. A large tube of toothpaste can take, say, 3 months to use up for one person. So that would be 5 tubes or 3 tubes, depending on how much are in your family for 3 months. Again, it doesn't take up that much space. So I think you can put together a fairly compact kit, and then when it's done, know that you have taken care of a lot of the everyday needs that you would need, whether you're faced with, I can't go to the store because there's nothing at the store, or there's a disaster and you have to live out of a tent, or you had to evacuate to someplace out of the area or something like that. Having the daily needs taken care of is extremely important for comfort and convenience, and in many cases for health reasons, for morale of you and your family. All that is very important. I'll have a couple links to that Fells Naphtha and that liquid soap, that foaming soap dispenser, in the show notes if you're interested. Otherwise, I want to thank you for downloading and taking a listen to the podcast. Don't forget to check out flyneedlegold.com and campingsurvival.com when you get a chance. You can reach me through the website at thepreparednesspodcast.com. You can also directly email me at rob@prepcast.info. If you have any questions or a prepper question, go ahead and send it out, and we'll share it with the rest of the listening folks. If you have a Facebook account, you can like us at facebook.com/preparednesspodcast. If you are on Twitter, you can follow us at Prepcast. And until next time, folks, enjoy life and be safe.